Hi, everyone. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite December 3rd, 2025 episode. This show was very good. I loved it. Oh man, I love this episode of Dynamite. Let's talk about it. So the show opens with Tony Giovanni in the ring. He talks fairly about winter is coming and stuff and introduces Samoa Joe and Eddie Kingston. We'll talk about that, guys. That happened a few weeks ago. And Tony reminds us that everyone is bared from ringside. I'll say it again. Tony reminds us that everyone is burned from ringside, and Samoa Joe gets in his face and tells him to get out of the ring before he snatches the ugly wig off of his head. Then Samoa Joe says they have some situations to address and says he bet Eddie he is full of questions that need answering, and why isn't he in a third piece suit looking like $1 billion, because when he got on his jet, he found out he was going to Indianapolis, and he realized it'd be like wearing a tuxedo to a petting zoo, and the penguins might appreciate it, but these dumb animals should do not. And that's what happened right there. Then it's about education, and he thought it's important, and Hook learned about the other side, how the steak tastes at the third place table, and he couldn't think of a better candidate to teach him that than Eddie Kingston, and a man who never gotten it done or crossed the finish line, who's never quit facil in his potentials. And again, Joe, and he says the man got a tons days as Chungus Grand Champion. That means something. Then next week, Eddie's going to fight his butt off like the lion he is, which happened already. Like I said again, and Joe retained, guys. Which I'll just say that right now. We'll talk about that in a bit. But he's not going to cross the finish line just like every other time. And Eddie Kingston starts getting hot and pacing at this point. And Samoa Joe says the sense is that wouldn't be because of anything Eddie did wrong. It'll be because he choked him out in the middle of this ring. And Eddie Kingston says he couldn't get over the jet. And Samoa Joe, the man who saved indie wrestling, had the greatest Ring of Honor World Championship reign. And he's talking about jets. And Hook learns percents from him, and tough enough. I'll say it again. I'll say it again. Hook learns percents from him. Toughness. I said tough enough. I meant to say toughness. Toughness getting shit done by yelling and screaming. I've repeated again, guys. Hook learning percents from him. Toughness, 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 and toughness. Giving shit done by yelling and screaming, and the Joe he respects run through everybody and shows the world what it meant to be a fighting heavyweight champion. But what is this? And jumping people from behind using a kid like Hook. What is he? Look, the guy he used to hate, the old school guy he called out, now he likes them. But here's the thing, he's going to end it really quick so people can see wrestling, and he can get back to the motel and go to bed if Joe doesn't bring the Ring of Honor World Champion, the Samoan submission machine, the Samoa Joe that beats up his mentor Homicide for years. He will eat Joe alive on the 10th. And that's what happened right there. Great promo between Eddie Kingston and Samoa Joe. Really good stuff to start the show. Then commentary hypes up the card, and the rest of the Hobbs cut a promo backstage. And Hook says Samoa Joe is going to finish Eddie Kingston next week. And Will Hobbs says they have business to do later in the night, and they're going to sprinkle a little holiday cheer around. Last night, Dark Order presents them on Ring of Honor TV, and if they get a past them tonight, they'll get a trios title match and all of that. What happened right there, guys. Then Shibata says something in Japanese, and Hook agrees that it'll be a real light work. Then we had Okada fences Pac. Oh, this match right here with Okada and Pac was decent. It was a decent match. I loved it. It was very good. I'll tell you, it was a decent match. Let's talk about it with Pac and Okada. I'm telling you, decent match. Loved it, man. Loved it. But let's talk about it. So we had Okada fences Pac in the gold legend block. Let's talk about it. So Don Callis is on commentary for this one, filling out, and Matt Graveling and Pac takes him down from front, centrally back into the corner, and the ref calls for the break, and the bastard breaks dirty with a face. I was thinking with a pie face. I was thinking the bastard breaks dirty with a pie face, and Okada gets in his face, and a big owl back and forth with them. Boom, 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 bang, 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 bang. Good shit, good shit, good shit, good shit. Then a basement drop kick from Pac and action to the floor, and Okada puts him into the barricade a few times, and then back inside Okada with a quick near fall, and the bastard turns things around as we go to the break, and then back from the break, struggling, and Pac to the apron, and a big front kick slingshot ace crusher almost didn't make it, but he took Okada down also again. He took Okada down all the same off the ropes and head of steam, and Okada nails him with a dropkick on the button, and victory roll pin from the bastard kicks out, and then trading boots and a leg frog super kick stager Okada into the corner, then a boot into the corner and whip reverse, and the bastard slides low and a big German suplex and connects, and a big brainbuster from Pac off the ropes and a head of steam, another Grizzly Lariat, and the Brawler ascends Okada reverse, and Okada wins by pinfall reverse. The Brawler earns his first 3 points of the tournament, and that's what happened right there. Then Mark Briscoe cuts a promo backstage. He talks about fighting Daniel Garcia about this time a year ago, trading victories, and his main takeaway was that Daniel Garcia is the real deal. The kid is game. But now, a year later, things have changed, and Mark Briscoe is the TNT champion, and his opinion of Daniel isn't what it once was, and he's afraid Daniel Garcia is falling into a Death Rider's death spiritual, and he's got in his face for a title shot and backed away. What is this mind game? And Mark doesn't play no mind of games. He doesn't duck near dive. So he wants to Tony. He went to. I'll say it again. So he went to Tony Khan and got the match and made for winner is coming, and it's going to be an national ass whooping. He said. Then the demand are backstage, and Ricochet cuts a promo about how all these little companies are reaching out to get him to come and save them with the AEW National Championship. And his first piece of Trent's work is this coming Friday, which we already talked about, guys. You know about that a few days ago, like 3 or 4 days ago, about the aftermath of Ring of Honor, Final Battle, which I love that show. That was a very good show. I gave that show a 9.7. You remember I gave that show a 9.7 out of 10 and stuff. You can go back and watch that review you want to, y'all. Then they know each other for a long time. Dalton Castle and Ricochet known each other for a long time, so he hates to say it, but he's going to destroy Dalton Castle. That he's going to stick around and give some other charity chase a title shot on Collision and stuff like that. Then where they're in demand, you get to make demands, and if you do not follow demands, you get put down, and that's what happened right there. And then we go to the break, and then back from the break, Renee Paquette interviews the Conjuration and Roderick Strong, and Mark Briscoe says it would be a sense to say the Conjuration has not started the Continental Classic with a surplus of concess, but now with Roderick Strong and OC, somebody has to win, and Roderick Strong persists that he's not in the Conjuration, says he's going to kick Orange's ass. Then OC asked Mark Briscoe to bring up the Conjuration rules for the match, so he does. No chomps, and Roderick Strong just says he's going to break his back, and Strong arms past them. And then we get a footage of Darby Allin in the hospital after last week's show and stuff like that, which we'll talk about the Darby Allin situation. He's going to be out for a while. Hope for a speed recovery for Darby Allin. I hope he comes back quickly in a speed recovery. So that's what my thoughts right there, guys. I hope Darby comes back really fast from surgery. But that's just my opinion, guys. That guy is crazy, I tell you. But I love that dude. I love Darby, man. But anyways, let's carry this away, guys. Then we had Kevin Knight fences Kyle Fletcher in the Gold League. Oh, this was good. The Continental Classic with Kevin Knight and Kyle Fletcher. Great match. A banger. A banger. I'll tell you, a banger. A banger. A banger. Let's talk about it anyways, guys. Don Callis is still on commentary for this one, and Collar and Owl struggling in the ropes, and Knight breaks clean with a pat of the chest and circling back to the lockup and struggling, and Kyle Fletcher, I'll say it again, struggling, and Kyle Fletcher with a headlock takeover and counter to a pin for one, and right back counter to a head scissor, and back on their feet and twist lock, standing twist and twist lock takedown, and a sense field kick from Kyle Fletcher, and he flex and slow slaps and collar and elbow, and Kevin Knight with a twist lock takedown denied, and leg picks and giant step, and he poses now, and Kyle Fletcher charges in off the ropes and leapfrogs and arm drags and lands on his feet and chart. I'll say it again, and trading arm drags. I said charging. I'm going to say trading arm drags, and Kyle Fletcher sidesteps a drop kick, and Kevin Knight slaps, and Kyle Fletcher bells to the floor and back inside, and big jump and whip across up and over, and Kevin Knight clotheslines him to the floor, but Kyle Fletcher sidesteps the plancha and blasts him with a drop kick from inside the ring. Then a powerbomb lifts onto the floor. Bam, 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 bang, 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 bang. Good stuff, I'm telling you. Great stuff, man. Then Kevin Knight slips out and double jumps off the apron for a slip lariat and a springboard lariat to the floor. And Kevin Knight fires up and goes to the break. Then back for the break, scoops in a slam counter victory roll for two. Then Kyle Fletcher off the ropes and then cuts off with a dropkick right onto the button. And then Kevin Knight slows the capitalize and wind blowing punches and charges lariat corner to corner. Then another drop kick, and both men are down. And Kevin Knight steps up, and Kyle Fletcher meets him with a kick, and Kevin Knight with a Frankensteiner. Then the big inflation DDT, no deal. Then trading falls, and Big Boot connects, and Kyle Fletcher cuts him off, and Len darts him hard into the turnbuckle, and Kyle Fletcher with a boot into the corner, and Brainbuster counter off the ropes, and a big springboard lariat from Kevin Knight, so close, and a slingshot DDT to the apron from Kevin Knight, rolling Kyle Fletcher back in the ring, and head up top by Kyle Fletcher. But I'll say it again, but Kyle Fletcher managed to cut him off and wrenches him onto the ropes, and then a Protostar up top with him, and Kevin Knight slips up, also again slips out. Kevin Knight slips out in a tree of tools, stomping him, still perching in a coast to coast UFO splash, but the knees are up in a small package for two, and Kyle Fletcher with the letter bomb, and Kevin Knight wouldn't stay down, and a brain buster countered into a small package. Neither will Kyle, and Boots charge in the corner and gets him up, and Kyle Fletcher wins with the brain buster and earns 3 points for a total of 6. And then the post match, Don Callis gets on the mic to Kyle Fletcher, who admits that he's not feeling great. Then Josh Alexander and Inchicero bring a pair of Joe's bags to the ring as we go to the break. Then back to the break, Don Callis would like to discuss what happened last week with the Young Bucks, and he says he can forget a lot. You can lie to him, he will forgive that, and you can cheat him, he forgives that, and you can kill someone, and he has forgiven that before. But the one thing that is unforgivable sin is siding with Kenny Omega, and he has the Young Bucks money, and he knows Kenny isn't going to I'll say it again. Kenny isn't going to fen fen fence them. I'll say it again, guys. Going to f- fun fun fence size them. I'll repeat it again, guys. Fen ins fen fention fun fencing fencing them. I'll just say that, guys. Fence size them. You know what I'm saying? Fence size them so they do not like it for the first time in their God-forsaken lives. Let your nuts drop and come here and try to take it, and enters the Young Bucks with no fanfare, and they slide in the ring and clear Inchicero and Josh Alexander out with super kicks and BTE triggers on Kyle Fletcher, and they get one of the bag of money, and Okada attacks from behind and takes Matt Jackson out with a Rainmaker, and Nick turns to him and Josh Alexander and Inchishiro recovers and puts the beat down on the Young Bucks, and then the Jurassic Express make also again the Jurassic Express with the save made the save. You know what I'm saying? The Jurassic Express with the save, and Luchadors throws Inchishiro out of the ring, and Jack Perry whips everybody out with a moonsault to the floor, and then Okada nails the I'll say it again. Okada nails the Dino Man, the Dino Man Luchadors right into his Dino Nuggets, and Jack Perry walks up and cold bite Okada's hand only for Clone to run him off. Then Don Callis hammers Matt Jackson with punches to the temple. Well, Nick Jackson is forced to watch. Then Don Callis licks his middle finger and tries to groots Nick's eyes out with it. And then Kenny Omega comes out and makes the save. Kenny Omega makes the save with the feed trigger and sends Mark Davis to the floor. Then he ducks a Rainmaker and Dragon Suplex on Okada. I'll say it again. Dragon Suplex on Okada and then a finger gun. But Okada bells to the floor, and the Bucks and the Jurassic Express get themselves together and stand tall. And that's what happened right there. And then we get a recap of the AEW Women's Tag Team Championship tournament business. And then we had the Sim Finals match right here on December 3rd's episode. Like I said again, we're still talking about December 3rd's episode. And yes, guys, Maria Shafir and Megan Bayne fences timeless love bombs. Mia and Tony Storms won this match. The timeless love bombs won this match, guys, and that's what happened right here. I really wanted Maria Shafir and Megan Bayne to win, but it is what it is. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about this hardcore holiday death match. It was fun. I loved it. I know a lot of other people didn't like it, but I love this match. It was a fun match. But let's talk about it anyways. So timeless love bombs hot out of the gate, and Brawling Strength's TDT fired up into the floor, and Tony Storm smashes a champagne bottle across Maria Shafir's head, and then shoots Megan Bayne with the broken glass, and Mia has a barbed wire Kenny Kane and takes Megan Bayne inside for a sling blade before whip her, also again, wallop her with it and chokes her with it, and Tony assists with a drop kick to the mouth, and then Maria Shafir coming to blood pouring down her forehead, which was freaking crazy. Hardcore, 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 hardcore. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I said slam back in the ring, and timeless love bombs thinking about a double suplex, but the Megan Bayne counters with the 2-for-1 suplex of her own, and then setting Tony on the second, and Maria Shafir with the Tiger Flint's head scissor driver into the apron, and Megan Bayne throws Mia into Tony Storms onto the floor and sends us to the break, and then back from the break, Maria Shafir, also again, back from the commercial, Maria Shafir has Mia on the ropes and hammering her with a frying pan as Megan Bayne clubs, I'll say it again, as Megan Bayne clubs Tony Storms with a crossbody blow and more pan shots, and Megan Bayne gets a chair into it, and Tony ducks under and fronts at the Jackson, and Mia fronts Terminator in the Terminator the chair into Megan Bayne, and a Storm Zero takes the Magnus off the apron through a table, which was crazy. That spot was crazy with the table, through the table. Then Maria Shafir with a Doro throw, and Mother Milk ascents, and Tony grabs Slur's. I'll say it again. Tony grabs Slutter Bowl. I'll say it again. Slaughter Pool. I'll repeat it again, guys. Tony grabs Slaughter Pool suits and slides one in for Mia, and she jams the broken glass into Maria Shafir's face over and over, which was, oh man, I'm telling you. Oh man, I'm telling you. TV14 good stuff. TV14 good stuff. And since let Maria Shafir out and hand slims and timeless love bomb to the ropes, and Mia lands the plancha and back inside, and Tony holds her and Mia off the top and diving slingshot off since into a chair, but Megan Bayne managed to break it up, and Maria Shafir with a snap suplex, and Megan Bayne spears Mia through a table, laying into the corner, and Tony Storms comes over and twists lock, and Maria Shafir nails her with a chair and calls for Mother Milk, and Tony refers Megan Bayne since to drop her into it, and Storm Zero right on Maria Shafir midsection, and Santa Claus in here, and he's bearing one gift, which was, Lutheran. It was Lutheran, guys. Lutheran came back as Santa Claus, and he helped out Tony Storms and gives her a rap pump, one of those things, you know what I'm saying? I'll say it again, guys. So Santa Claus gets, and he's here one gift, and Maria Shavir tries to get the box, but Santa flips the bird and threw it, and Lutheran is back, and he's Santa Claus, and Tony Storms grabs a wrapping pump, and Tony Storms gets it, and Timeless Love Bombs went with Pinball with a high heel shot from Tony Storms on Maria Shafir, and that's how they won with the high heel shot from Tony Storms onto Maria Shafir, and it was a great match. Give it up to all the four women, Maria Shafir, Megan Bain, in that episode. That was a great freaking hardcore holiday match. I loved it. I love that death match. That death match was hardcore. TV 14, great stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff. I'm telling you. Oh man. For all you people that want to crap on us, because TV 14 is a little bit more edgy. But anyways, that's just my opinion. I love WWE. Don't get me wrong. Like I said again, with their PG stuff, they're fine and stuff, but they need to be a little bit more edgy. Need to cut off those sponsors, but they won't do that. But they won't do that. But that's just my opinion. Then we get a video package for a Jimmy Hater and Chris Statlander fences Sisters of Sin tag. Then Dark Order are walking and talking backstage, and Eva Uno talks up the opportunity that they have tonight as Hangman Adam Page strolls past, and Alex Reynolds stops him and tells Hangman he knows he's looking for blood, but whatever happened, please do not ruin this for them. And Hangman accepts and offers that is own them that much. But the second the match is over, the Hobbs are his. Then everybody agrees and walks off together and sends us to the break. Then back from the break, Renee Paquette interviews Mercedes Moné, and Mercedes Moné doesn't want to talk about losing her world title match, doubled down on being a global icon and a PWI #1 wrestler of the year, and she sniffs at having to defend the Ring of Honor the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. I'll say it again, guys. Appreciate you stopping by. What's up, my brother Sergio? What's up, my brother Sergio? Thanks for coming in, bro. Appreciate you. Appreciate you stopping by, bro. Appreciate you. Appreciate you stopping by. Sorry I didn't see your comment because I'm focused and telling people how this show went. So appreciate you stopping by. Then okay, guys. So I'll say it again. She snuffs at having to defend the Ring of Honor World Television Championship against Red Velvet, who only even stepped to call her out when she's not there. Since Red complains that Mercedes doesn't even show up on Ring of Honor television, she's going to be on Honor Club this week ahead of Final Battle on Friday, which we already talked about that. You know what I'm saying? Then FTR cuts a promo backstage, and Stokely halfway says that this is the best night of his life because FTR are the tag champions, but he has to address something that happened on Collision last week. And the Bang Bang Gang interrupts and says they want to be champions in honor of their injury soulmate, which I'll say again, which Stokely halfway sniffs at, and Cash Wheeler talks trash and says all they're ever going to be is Billy Boy and Mr. Storm, and Dex Harwood says this is just a paycheck for the ass boys, but it's his life on Saturday night, and he dares them to put hands on the belts one more time, which we talked about that already, guys, about that episode from this past week. Then we had the Dark Order fences the Hobbs. This match was a fun match. Let's talk about it, guys. It was a fun match with the Dark Order being on Dynamite. I hope they can get used more the Dark Order. I love the Dark Order, but ever since our buddy Brody Lee, that's been gone for almost 6 years, they were a big unit at the time. They were a big unit. But I appreciate you, Prince, for coming in. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you stopping by as well. So, anyways, guys, I'm back again. Let's talk about the match with the Dark Order and the Hobbs. So the Hobbs attacked Dark Order during their entrance and cutting them off and brawling onto the floor. And finally, in the ring, Silver and Hook local to start, and Johnny hammering him into the ropes with kicks and off the rope, and Hook catches him with the T-bone suplex, and Reynolds in ducking and dodging, but Hobbs catches him and slams him hard into the apron, and Uno up top, and Shibata cuts him off with a kick, and that sends him crashing to the floor as we went to the break. Then back from the break, the Beat the meat man German suplex, hook, and tag to Eva Uno, and big charging elbows and kick to Shibata midsection and back elbow charging lariat and chomps and big boot tag Shibata, hook them both and double DDT, and Powerhouse comes in and Shin's popping his lips up and taking chomps after chomp from Eva Uno and finally getting rocked enough and takes him seriously in the world's strongest slam, and Barving Boy, also again, Bar, Bar, Barber Boy breaks it up and sends super kick from the Barber from the ropes and catches and sleeper hold, and Will hauses up Eva Uno over, and the Hobbs win by pinfall with a spinning spine buster from Will Hobbs onto Eva Uno, and that's what happened, and that's how the Hobbs defeated the Dark Order with Alex Rentals and Eva Uno and John Skyler. I said again, John Skyler, guys, I appreciate you guys for coming in and stuff. Like I said again, and I'll repeat it again, guys, one more time. So the Hobbs won by pinfall with a spinning spine buster from Will Hobbs onto Eva Uno, and that's how they won, and that's how Hook and Shibata and Will Hobbs defeated the Dark Order, Alex Rentals, and Eva Uno and John Silver. I said Josh Alexander real quick because I talk so fast. But I meant to say John Silver, 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 not Josh Alexander, John Silver, John Silver, John Silver. So there you go. Boom, 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 good stuff. Boom, 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 good stuff. Boom, 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 good stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's good stuff, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. But, anyways, for all the other stuff, guys, I'm telling you, a lot of great action. Just a lot of great action. Then the post match, Hangman comes to the ring and first blows with a chain, and he knocks Shibata out of the way and hammering Hobbs with a low punches, and Shibata trips him up from behind and falls with a ground punch and holding Hangman up, but he ducks and Hobbs nails his own teammate, and Hangman blasts Will in the front head, Will Hobbs, with an empty beer bottle, and then thinking buckshot, but security breaks it up before he can connect. Then Adam breaks away and drops a. I'll say it again. Adam breaks away and drops a guard with a buckshot as the Hobbs beat a retreat, and commentary is making a point of saying they haven't seen Hook since the match ended. And then Renee Paquette interviews Don Callis and Okada and Kyle Fletcher backstage, and Don Callis is tired of negative. I'll say it again. Don Callis is tired of negative questions, and Okada blames Tutesta for letting them down again. And Don says Tutesta's in heavy training, but Tutesta rolls up and says a Sicily is here, and Don Callis tries to shave over by saying, with these three killers, there's no way they'll lose the Continental Classic, and asks why all of Okada's titles aren't on the line, and Don says a whole lot of nothing, and Renee presses him on the non-answer, and Don says he's not dumb and he's not putting the international championship on the line unless he especially has to. And Kyle Fletcher says, with the point they have on the board, the Continental Championship is guaranteed to stay with the family. And then we go to the break, and then back from the break, Hangman Adam Page paces in front of a garbage door, and he says he fought for 3 years to get back to the world title and gone through everyone and on the damn roster to get it. And the person who cost him the title was Hook, and Hook for Joe, and Full Gear was the Hobbs grounding moment for him, and it was a speed bump because whether for him or Eddie, he will take the title back. And if Hobbs and Shibata want a fight, they got one next week, and the winner is coming, which that happened already. You remember with Swerve and Hangman. That match was good at Winter is Coming. We'll talk about that in a bit, guys. And he wouldn't be alone. They want no. I'll say it again. I'll repeat it again. He wouldn't be alone. He wouldn't be alone. He wouldn't be alone. They know who's coming, and they should get their affairs in order. I'll say it again, guys. Their affair their affairs in order. And Renee Paquette's in the crowd talking about how she was talking to Moxley earlier the day about the Death Riders mindset, and how said if Claudio wants this, he will have to take it. Then we had the main event. Then we had the main event with Claudio and Moxley. This match was great. Oh, this match with Claudio Castagnoli and John Moxley, which was great, I'm telling you. With Claudio picking up the win, let's talk about it, guys. Let's talk about it. So, filling out and Claudio shots for a single leg block, suffering around different armbar since, and Claudio falls back to guard, back on their feet in the corner, and the ref calls for the break and test of strength, and Claudio turns into pin, and Moxley struggles to keep him off, and last Claudio just caves Moxley's chest in with a double stomp and an uppercut into the corner, and stalking around and boot up in the corner, and Moxley hammering chops and elbows in the ropes and back wrist mount punches in the corner, and wrenches at Claudio's eye and arm, wrenching Claudio's fire off a back breaker, and we go to the break, and then back from the break, Moxley is busted open, which was crazy, but Moxley always bleeds. Then Claudio gives him the giant swing about a ton's revolution and stepping through into the sharpshooter in middle of the ring, and blood pouring off of Moxley's nose as he surfs and claws from the ropes, and Claudio shoves gears and arm trap crossface resents, I'll say it again, resents right into the middle of the ring, and fighting out, trading elbows, and an eye poke from Moxley, and the elbows come harder and faster in the aftermath, and in jobs, Claudio's duck and dodge and uppercut connects and passing to the floor, and Moxley with a suicide dive, boom, 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 bang, 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 back and forth, 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 back and forth. Oh man, I'm telling you. Then back inside, Ace Crusher and Claudio pops right up in a big Larry, and both men are down and out with 10 minutes left on the clock. And then Clutch since counter, and Moxley looks for the Bulldog choke denied, and Flint's clutch of his own and reverse sunset flip for two, and then Moxley counters, runs pin for two, and then Claudio with the uppercut and then an elbow pad off, but Moxley drops him with a lariat and a slow to capitalize, and Claudio rolls away for the first blackout, but eats the second, and Claudio wouldn't stay down, and a sleeper hold locks in, and Claudio fights out and drops him to the floor, and then following out after him and charging in an uppercut bounces Moxley off the barricade and stumping across the way, and Moxley takes a seat, and Claudio charges in and a double stomps him in the chair, and uppercut against the steel steps, and charging uppercut back inside lariat, nope deal, and a power bomb, and Moxley wouldn't stay down, and a bloody face, and Moxley shakes his head at Claudio, and a forehead to forehead, and an uppercut for elbow in the middle of the ring, and Moxley with a boot to the midsection, and a DDT connects and slows to capitalize, and Claudio gets to his feet and sits the moment, and Claudio Castagnoli wins by pinfall with an uppercut and earns 3 points for a total of 6. Then the post-match, Bryan Danielson spills it out and saying that when he was in the Blackpool Combat Club, he wouldn't beat John Moxley, therefore saw him as the leader, and Maria Shafir nails next to Moxley and stared kind of sadly at him as Wheeler Yuta gives him a little, yeah, did your best, pal, pat on the shoulder, and that's what happened right there. And I gave this show a 9 out of 10. It was a very good show, in my opinion. I give it a 9 out of 10, guys. A very good show, in my opinion, this episode. So, yes, guys, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit those notification bells. As always, guys, this is Christopher Jackson Denver 2006. So, yes, guys, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit those notification bells, as always. And peace out and much love, guys. And I'm going to show you guys the comments again. So yeah. So I appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. And CJD, baby, yes. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate them. But anyways, that's all I have to say, guys. And much love and peace out and take care. And this is CJD 2006, Christopher Jackson, Denver 2006. Peace out and much love.